Hello, YouTube. It's the unwell clown again. See, I was the psychotic clown with the hair flaying, the cool hairstyle. But I was in a political debate with someone, and they went and looked at this channel, and they said that I was unwell. So I guess with this hair, I guess I'm unwell. I guess if I want to become psychotic, I can grow out my hair. But no, I'm joking. Um, anyways, but that's another story. I've already dealt with that one. I just want to do a quick preliminary preliminary video about moving to Ephraim. And the reason why I'm doing it is because there's no college. A lot of college kids are going to be moving down here. And also because Ephraim is growing. So I want to do this as sort of a service. I am going to do a more organized video. But this one is just kind of how I did it and how not to do it. So I moved down here about a couple of years ago now. And before that though, I was thinking of moving down here, but it just wasn't the right time. That's all I'm going to say about that. Things just weren't lining up quite yet. So I was working and making good money, and I came down here one day on a day off, talked to the landlord of where I used to live in the psych ward. It does have an official name, but out of respect to the owner and the kindness he showed to me, I'm not going to name it, the place. And anyways, so he and I had a good talk. The landlord and I had a good little talk. I paid a deposit. He gave me a copy of the key, and he showed me a room 38. In fact, it's the bedroom I eventually wound up living in, or one of the two. And I remember going up and looking at that room and thinking, this place is a slum. And just looking at that room and thinking, ooh, this is just sad. Sad little room. And I just, dealing with the landlord, I had a bad feeling. So I went back home and to where I was living. I went back there and I was talking to my boss. And I was telling him about it. I said, I looked at this place and I just got a bad feeling. And my boss just said, well, there's a reason why. So, long story short, time went on. It's time for me to come down here and settle down, which is my plan, to become, to live here the rest of my life. Apparently, there's some people that aren't too keen on that. Well, tough. I don't care. This is where, if I can, I'm going to live the rest of my life. So anyways, I come down here and it was COVID. There wasn't a vaccine yet. And the economy was slow. Winter, my worst nightmare actually of moving. When I was going through all the scenarios in my head, I was like, I do not want to be moving to Ephraim in the middle of winter. Well, I did. In the middle of COVID. Difficult times. And I just needed a place to live. And this slummy place that I had thought about, or my car, and the slummy place won out. Now, in my previous interaction with Dan, the landlord, I had not signed a contract. So I paid a deposit, got a key, but I had not signed a contract. And so I just got a refund back. And this time I go there and Dan was just really weird. Dan's just like, well, you worked at a meat packing plant? I said, yeah. He said, well, I'm not going to allow you to live here until you've had a COVID test. And I said, look, I worked in a meat packing plant. All right. And to be fair, meat packing plants they were hotspots for COVID, but I was tested so many times. I probably 7, 8 times for COVID. I never got it. And I had the proof. I had, look, this is a lab result of my COVID test. And Dan's like, oh, well, no, you need one within 24 hours. There's nothing in the contract about that. That was a first red flag. Fine. So I stayed at a hotel in Nephi. And I went up not Spring City, but Springville, which is the next biggest town around here. Went to the drive-in COVID type place, got my test, came back negative, got down there, and Dan said, well, okay. And it was just really weird. And so I get a job at a meatpacking plant at the Moroni turkey plant, which was a meatpacking plant. I was extremely lucky to get a job. Bear in mind, this is during the COVID years. When this video gets old, some may say, well, what does that mean? Jobs are very scarce. And I'm in this turkey plant, this meatpacking plant, and I was talking to the boss. And it was a company, they're contractors that go in and they do the cleaning at night to make sure that everything's sterile and sanitized. And I was looking to get a job doing that. And they said, oh, I recognize you. You were at that other plant, weren't you? And I said, yeah, I worked there. And they said, oh, so you know what it's like? And I said, yeah, of course. I was working on a machine. Well, I was helping out work with the machine. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, you're hired. Great, awesome, right? Huge stroke of luck. And I saw this guy, he was married, had a kid or two or something, and he didn't get the job, and he walked away, and he was just totally devastated. And I thought, man, I feel for you, dude. And this lady came in, and she was just like, I know we had problems, but can you just hire me back, please? And they said no. So I'm seeing all these sad stories, and then there's me getting a job, just walking down here, walking right into a job, and I was darn tootin' lucky. So I texted Dan, and I said, hey, Dan, great news. I got a job at the meatpacking plant. Dan texts me back. I still have those texts. Well, you cannot live here. He said, you can't live here and work at the turkey plant. So what he said is, I could not work at the turkey plant and live in the psych ward. Again, that's my nickname for the apartment complex where I used to live. And I was just like, what? I got a full-time job? And no? It got weirder. There were warning signs everywhere. I already had a bad feeling about the place. So I dealt with all this stuff, culminated with when Chucklehead decided to ride his bike up on me, threaten me physically, and say, when you get me mad, then bad things happen. And I saw through it. He tried to throw a race into it. A cycle is a cycle is a cycle. And if you watch my short, and if you see what I wrote in my short, I mean it. A psychopath is a psychopath is a psychopath. There's nothing racial about what he said. There's malcontents everywhere. And they come up with all sorts of kooky excuses to be a malcontent. And in his case, he just happened to insult his own people, which is sad because, yeah, it's just sad. Look, and it's like, look, if you're going to be a psychopath, at least admit it, or at the very least come up with a dumb excuse, but don't drag innocent people into your stupidity. Please, just don't. Anyways, so things got really bad, and I started to look around for another place to live. By this time, I'd been staying in the psych ward for about a year and a few months. And I let the owner know, because it's a month-to-month lease, got some kind of bug in my hair. Of course, the bug would have to be really selective about where it lands, because as you can tell, I'm not exactly as young as I was. So anyways, I'm talking to the owner about moving out, and I'm not sure, because like someone pointed out to me later when I was talking to them about this. They said, you just got comfortable where you were, and I was. I had dirt cheap rent, I had good pay coming in. Why would I mess with that? So then things started getting really scary, and I'm probably going to document that later on. And that's about the time the owner said, let's get you into another place. And I, to this day, think it was for the sake of my safety. So he bragged me up to another place, and it's where I currently live. Excellent place, lovely place, landlords, excellent. No empty storefront effect. That's a real estate term. If you want to look that up on Google, you can. I was studying to get to do the coursework to become a real estate agent, and I decided I'm going to do that as well. Sell houses on the side, but no empty storefront effect. No weird, why is this place always empty? Why are the cops always there? Why are moving vans always pulled up there? Why don't people stay there very long? There's none of that where I currently live. They have a waiting list that is just long. I know, because I have a friend here, and he was looking to move into a nicer place. And I said, hey, I'll talk to my landlords and see if they can't help you out. And I talked to them, and the landlords just said, we have a waiting list now of people that want to move in here. And the owner of the building bragged me up, gave me a good reference, which flew in the face of what the psychopaths in the psych ward wanted to do. To sum it up, I have direct information because they told it to me. Their goal was to get me evicted, get me a bad reference, and get me out of town. Basically, there's more to it than that, but get me kicked out, get me a bad reference, get me out of town. And by the way, I think that still is their goal. I have intel that suggests it. Suggests is a key word here. And that's why I just need your guys' help to sort all this out. But anyway, so the owner of the psych ward, he got me into my current place in life is good. Like I said, I'm going to do a better video, more organized. That's just a quick summary. Take from it what you will. For now, I'd say if you are looking into a place, interview the landlord. And if you get a bad feeling about the place, run. Another trick is try to get friends down here, because it's easy to get friends in San Pete, all right? You don't even have to live here, and you can have friends. And then just talk to them and find out, because every place has a reputation, every place. And find out from the locals, what the reputation is. If they live in the place, that's ideal. They can give you the inside scoop. And all these things that are not obvious that they will say because they live it. And of course, there's always the online reviews. There's that, like, rate my apartment, RATEMYAPARTMENT. I went to public school, so I struggle to learn how to spell. No, I say that partially in jest. But there's just all kinds of places, but that don't rely exclusively on reviews online, because I'll tell you this right now, the real estate agencies that manage apartments and apartment managers who are savvy, they are on all those websites too. They are doing their responses, and they are actively seeking, in some cases, to have negative reviews removed. So, yes, online's great. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying you need to supplement it with person to person communication. Human intent is a phrase, human intelligence. So, this video has gone on for way too long, but I'm just going to throw this stuff out, and I will follow up with another video that's a lot more organized and coherent. But if you have any information, guys, please, please, please let me know. I will keep you anonymous. If you want to, just go straight to the cops, skip me, and please do. I just want law enforcement to have the tools to deal with these psychopaths. All right, have a great day.